This is Mario, Jesse T Show. Do not miss this one. Trust me.
Mario, welcome to the Jesse T Show, brother.
Jesse, how are you, man?
Man, I'm living my best life, man. How about you?
Good. Yeah, I'm living a better life than you. No, I'm living a good life as well, man.
That's great, brother. Talk to us a little bit about who you are and what you do, man.
Yeah, who I am today. Veteran entrepreneur, has been through the trenches and run a few companies, e-com, consulting firm, deep in crypto. One of our companies is going public, partner at a law firm, and do a lot of investing. So companies from everything, from growth hacking to taking businesses public to doing e-com, everything. And I dance around the world. So that's pretty much me, man.
Hell
It's
yeah,
really
brother.
that simple. That's literally all I do. Nothing else in life. Literally zero. No tourism, no friends, no drinks, no Netflix, nothing.
Just dialed in.
Dancing, work, and sometimes like having a bit of fun, like doing crazy things or meeting girls. But these three things, zero, nothing else.
How did you get to that point? What's your journey been like? Have you always been an entrepreneur?
Yeah, look, I've been an entrepreneur, according to my mom, since I was a kid. Now, people have to say they were born an entrepreneur. Science is kind of split to an extent. You can be born and DNA has a role to play in it, but also your surrounding. You could watch a movie or a series when you're like 3, 4 years old that has some hint toward independence and entrepreneurship that could trigger that entrepreneurial spirit. Could be seeing your dad come in and work every day, or it could be triggered by many things. So I'm sure some things triggered it. What triggered me to me right now is, man, my life has been a big game of Lego. I've literally been building brick by brick since migrating to Australia as a kid. Everything from business to the way I talk, the way I act, the way I dance, the skills I know, everything was a well calculated brick, and which makes for a pretty interesting life.
What was your first entrepreneurial endeavor or hustle? What'd you start off with?
I was at university doing banking and finance, and I saw a video of a boy called Farah Gray, and the video was outdated back then, and he talks about how he made his first million at age 13.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy shit, like I don't need to wait till my 30s and 40s to become a millionaire. Like I can start right now. I should start right now. And I dropped out of university that same week and got the first job I can. What's the easiest job to get? It's door knocking, commission only. So I started knocking on doors, selling anything I can get my hands on. And yes, the rest is history. So launched an e-com business. That was my first business called Fruity back in Australia. And they got to 7 figures in a year, 8 figures in 2 years. So it did really, really well. Timing was right. And then just took that and launched an events business, more e-com businesses, got into crypto, launched a few consulting firms, etc.
I want to talk about how important that door-to-door experience was, because part of my journey after leaving the military, my first job I had was outside sales, door-to-door, cold call, commission, but business to business, so a little bit different than residential. But I've done residential, and there's all sorts of techniques and skill sets that go to each one. But from my experience, we were basically selling like Groupon. I don't know if Groupon's still around, but what Groupon similar is we were selling like sporting tickets and restaurants and hotels and golf. We were selling entertainment, and we would take these packages and we would go knock on business doors, and we'd walk in and we'd give them a pitch, and we'd have to overcome objections and, have different sales techniques and factors of impulse. And that one experience of that outside sales career put me on a trajectory that I could never even believe. And it allowed me at the time to open up multiple companies and, in the Southeast of the United States. And as a young kid that was a poor kid from Boston, having come into money at that point, just spending it like crazy. But the experience of sales and outside sales and cold call, the ability to work with any kind of person, because I was seeing 100 people a day, 100 different people a day that I would have to overcome objections, no soliciting, whatever it was. What was your experience when you were selling, I guess, residential? And what are some of those core tenets that you carry with you today?
Yeah, so I was just counting how many people I would be seeing as well. So I did B2B as well when I started. I was selling those water dispensers. That was the first product we sold. Those water coolers?
Yeah.
That was a typical door-to-door product. I made a lot of money. It worked really well. But it was so outside my comfort zone, man. Like I was a very proud person, kept to myself, didn't go out, didn't do any of that shit. Like very, very, very focused and very proud to go out there and be kicked out of businesses saying, "Hey, can you see the door out behind you?" I'm like, "Yeah." Can you walk right out, right back out? Um, that's tough, but it is so beneficial because one of the most important skills for business is copywriting, knowing what to say, how to say it, and when to say it.
No question.
That's what copywriting is. Whether you're doing it for an ad or a website or a cold message or an email or someone face to face, you gotta hook them in with something. They gotta follow up, how to overcome objections, how to understand objections. All that migrates to the digital world as well. So the skills I learned knocking on doors helped me create good ads when I did my own Google ads or Facebook ads or my website copy. Because behind that website is people looking at it. Behind the ad, you want people to click on the ad. And when you knock on a door, you got a person there. You always remember there's people on the other side. And then if you start learning how to influence people, and you can guess which book I can refer to, it's powerful, man. It's like it's a weapon that you and I think you have it as well based on what you said. That's underrated in my opinion. Like it could make or break a business. That's how powerful copywriting is.
Yeah, words are spells, brother. That's they're powerful, they're magic, and depending on how you use them, you can cut people down or you can build empires. And it really is that powerful, man. So how was that segue for you? So how long were you doing outside sales, and did you jump right into e-com after that?
Yeah, so I followed the money pretty much. I was knocking on doors, selling different products. I built a team of commission-only salespeople from my uni that were working with me. And then one product was working really well, was a blender. And I had a concept in my mind of giving free blenders to cafes and then selling them the frozen yogurt to make smoothies.
Nice.
But then selling frozen yogurt, margin is really low and it's really easy for them to go buy yogurt from somewhere else, not from me. So then I'm like, why not just sell the blender? So I started selling the blender. That worked. And then I'm like, all right, let me try selling it online. I put it on eBay back then. And that started selling because I was aggressive with my marketing. My title was "Don't Buy," and I put the competitor's name. I was one of the first, if not the first, to do it. So I started putting that on eBay. It sold like crazy because it was less expensive, and the competitor is called Vitamix. Now we're two big competitors. Now we're both really big, but back then they were the only one. Back in Australia, they're an American company. So I'd say, "Don't buy Vitamix." I wouldn't trash them at all. I would just say, "Don't buy them," and then I'll talk about why you should buy Optimum without really referring much to Vitamix. And if people ask, this is very positive. But I grabbed attention. Copywriting 101. It's just about grabbing attention. It's the first thing. So don't buy Vitamix. It's not about putting Vitamix down. It's about grabbing attention. And it worked. I'm like, all right, holy shit. Let me see if I can do Google ads. So I did a website. It's really, really shit. I had someone do it from uni. Like I did it back in 2012, 2013. That website, probably 1997. Like if you looked at it, you'd be like, "Oh, that was made in 1997." That's how bad it was. And we made that website, and I started running Google ads. Same thing, copywriting. That's my skill. And we said, "Don't buy competitor name," before Google blocked that ability to do that. And it sold really well. And that literally kickstarted my business. For me, I was just making money. I'm like, no way this is gonna last. A year later, I'm like, holy shit, I'm onto something. I get an engineer after a few months, etc. But for the first few weeks and months, like, hey, just try to grab as much money as you can. I came out of nothing. So that was a lot of money for me. And Fruity is still a business right now in over 30 countries doing really well. So even since then, I've gone into crypto and crypto and growth hacking and taking businesses public. And we have one of our own companies going public and partnered a law firm. Like literally nothing to do with e-com. The e-com business is still there running, been there for many years.
And it was all predicated on your experience and learning how to talk to people, learning how to build
things,
impulse.
So copywriting was number one, influencing people. And number two was timing. I think anyone listening, if you go on Google and write Bill Gross TED. So Bill Gross TED, he has an 8-minute TED speech, talks about the power of timing in business. More important than anything, more important than the idea, the team, everything. That's how important timing is. And I was at the right place at the right time. It was just, and I was able to capitalize on it. So I was aggressive. I knew copywriting, and I was at the right place at the right time. I'd say this was the formula that got me to 8 figures, even though I was pretty shit at most things in business.
Would you say that outside of serendipity of timing that you've learned to create timing now? And what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so there's a lot of tools you could use that allow you to find the trend. Now, the most obvious one is Google Trend. Google Trend is really a simple one to use, but it works. And try to avoid hype. I'm not saying timing like fidget spinners. I'm saying timing like crypto. Like it's a movement that could take many, many, many years, or companies going remote because of COVID that's going to continue, or ecom blew up back during COVID. So those are timing based opportunities where you can start a business and then you have to do everything else right for the business to last after the time is up. But there's many tools you could use, and just you could try trends.co, you could try explodingtopics.com. These are paid newsletters that give you opportunities that are trending. I used to read them every week. It's weekly. Each one of them is weekly, it's paid. I don't have time now, but I should. I'm going to hire someone to read them for me. That's how important it is. So I think for me in business, I'd say timing or understanding timing is probably the most important thing for me. And it's to this day is based on most of my decisions.
Coming up, just kind of weaving a story around e-com. I know there was like a huge, and it's still really big in a lot of ways, but there was like a huge time where you had a lot of like thought leaders or people that started becoming internet famous, people like Ty Lopez, Russell Brunson, Frank Kern. Have you ever had experience in working with or even as a competitor to those types of people?
Yeah, so I've never, so I was speaking to Ty 2 days ago. I don't know Russell well, and Frank is I think we've spoken before. So I know these people, but I'm in a different world because I don't sell any info product. I've thought about it, never have. I don't know why. Ty's done a good job, but I think it's just too competitive, way too competitive, and the CPAs are too high. The margin is the margin is good, but if you put in ad spend, the margin becomes too low, and you have to burn through cash. So it's just really, really tough to be in that space. And I've also entered, I'm pretty deep in crypto now, long term, not like buying Bitcoin and all that shit. Like long term, building blockchain based businesses and investing in many of them. So that's taking up most of my time, the B2B side.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because my main business, my main hustle, my story is a little bit different. I've been an entrepreneur on and off my whole life. And I was born into a poor family in Boston, but I took advantage of my environment. So in Boston, it snows a shit ton, like 10 feet a year. It's insane. And I would shovel snow for money. I would run over to Logan Airport and take those little smart carts back there, move luggage around the airport and pop it in the stall, get a quarter to come out. And what that did was allow me to fund another passion, which was buying, selling, trading comic books, baseball cards for money, like way before Gary Vee was even on the internet. Yeah. Right. So I always kind of had that hustle because it came from a place of scarcity, but that hustle also turned into a 2-year selling drugs and like this whole thing, and kind of years ago beyond what I do now. And so that hustle, that entrepreneurial kind of vibe, it led into what I do today, which is I run 3 companies. And one of the companies that ties into crypto is a financial planning company. But I come from the angle of a fiduciary, which is basically I don't fuck over my clients is what it means. And every financial planner that's out there, out of 400,000 of them in the United States alone, only 5% of us are fiduciaries. So I advise people on how to live life well, and wherever life intersects with money or money intersects with business, how to make a good financial planning decision. So I have clients that are deep into crypto. I have clients that are deep into real estate. I have clients that are deep in the stock market, and some of all, depending on what they're doing. So I love the idea of crypto. I love where it's been, where it's going. I love, because I'm a rebel at heart. Like I love the idea that it could just disrupt the world. And until now, you probably could speak to this, but I've heard about the government trying to get in on this and kind of do, have some regulation and all this different shit and, move crypto of their own. Talk to me about your crypto experience, how you got in, and kind of like what you're doing to secure your own future, but also build the future for other people.
To answer your question, long term. So if you're going to get into crypto or anything that's hypey, because there's a lot of hype behind crypto as well, just remember one fact. One of the biases in the human brain, one of many, too many. The human brain overestimates the short-term opportunities, potential, but underestimates the long-term potential. That means short-term, people think crypto is going to change their lives.
Right.
But what's going to happen is going to be very gradual and you won't even feel it. There's been ups and downs, a lot of hypey things. Like now NFTs are hyped up and you probably know about them because you're on baseball cards. For me, that's just noise as a technological shift takes place. So blockchain will change the way we live. If you've seen Ready, Set, Go, Ready Player One gives you an idea of where the world is heading, but that's futuristic, it's long term.
Very virtual.
Very virtual, exactly. But that's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take a really long time. Remember, Bitcoin has been around since 2012. That's crazy. 10 years. It's insane. And people thought crypto when they first launched Bitcoin, they're like, it's going to change the world right now. When it dropped, they're like, shit, it's dead. That was Bitcoin. And they didn't understand that these things take a long time. Like Amazon almost went bankrupt back in 2001.
Yeah. Same for Tesla or Elon in general. He was down to his last $2.
In 2008, before I think Buffett or someone loaned the money.
Yep.
Apple almost went bust before Microsoft, Bill Gates. So the businesses that pretty much dominate the world we live in now, Apple, Tesla, and Amazon, all almost went bankrupt because people overestimate short-term potential.
Yes.
And underestimate the long-term opportunity, how impactful they can be. So that's where blockchain is. But if you're not in it for the long run, you're not someone that's going to sit here and build, it's harder to make money. You can always make money short term, but it's like gambling almost. So that's my way of getting involved. And it'll be my 2 cents to anyone getting involved. If anyone asks me, I never answer that question. Should I buy Bitcoin or should I buy Ethereum? Or which crypto should I buy? I'm deep in the space. I put in millions in different cryptos. I'm a partner at a law firm. I've got a fucking fund. I've got one company going public, consulting for all this. And I still have no idea.
Yeah.
So if that's your game, like I'm going to buy crypto and trade and play around with it, you're taking a big risk. But if you're going to take a picks and shovels approach, that's my recommendation.
100%. And there's this idea in traditional investing called fundamental investing. And it's the long term. It goes back to, like you said, Warren Buffett, who I used to go to his yearly conference, the Berkshire Hathaway deal. And I've met Ty there. My old mentors plugged into Ty. And so I met Dr. Alex and all these people and Charlie Rocket and like all these crazy people were there, but, or whatever he's called himself now. I don't know if Charlie calls himself Charlie Rocket, but anyway, so all these people, but the idea is I was going because of the connections, but also because of the information. And, people don't realize Warren Buffett in his late 80s is still by far and away one of the most powerful people in the world. He probably still would have been the richest if he didn't give away half of his money. And people don't realize how powerful he is even beyond that. Like he owns most of the railroads in the United States. Like he owns huge companies. He has big stake in Coca-Cola and these huge companies, and people underestimate it. But his whole story and narrative, which I believe in, is it's the long term. He bought his first stock when he was 11, over 70, almost 70 something years ago. This guy bought his first stock when there was no Google. You couldn't check any information. The guy was just like ahead of his time. And he's always talking about playing the long game. His first 2 rules of investing, it's like Fight Club. Like, don't talk about Fight Club. There's no Fight Club. He's like, don't lose money. Second rule, don't lose money. Like you just have to know how to manage money. But then also what you're saying in terms of crypto is it's so volatile. And it's just like the world that I live in where, stocks are being traded all the time and people are trying to time the market. And out of all the money managers in the world, only 4% of them do it on a consistent basis where they can accurately predict timing the market. It's not like that show Billions. Have you ever seen Billions before?
I know it, but I've never watched it.
It's a great show. It's so many ways. It's a great show. But the guy Bobby Axelrod, he's all about shorts and stops and calls and options essentially. And even though that's a world that financial planners live in, the timing piece of it, you can never predict what's going to happen. Politically, corporate wise, public media, like all this different stuff plays into it. And really it's just
human emotions.
Human emotions is everything. This is what I do is I train people. So like as a financial planner, there's 2 sides to my business that people don't really pay attention to because it's a Trojan horse. Number one, it's consciousness awakening in people and teaching them how to live life well in different ways. The other thing is emotional and behavioral training. And so like I'm teaching my clients, really the biggest thing is how not to screw up as much and not how to be impulsive and not how to go out and make a bad decision, because they might get a tip. As soon as someone gets a tip, it's already too late. Like, it's like if you hear a tip on Facebook, oh, go buy this stock. Like, no, don't do that. And don't put anything more than like what you can afford to lose. Right. And so most people, as a rule of thumb, I would say 10%, right? 10% is not a huge number, depending on your time frame too. If you're 60, 70 years old, you want to be more conservative. If you're younger, you have more time to get the money back. But all this to say, to your point, is that you're building into a legacy of the technology itself. So the blockchain, the ledger, the transactional side of things, and how all that plays into everything is really the strength, where it's like the cryptocurrency is just kind of the sexy side where people want to try to make money, but the long term is where you're going to make money.
Yeah, the long term and the picks and shovels approach is a good way to mitigate your risk. And I agree with fundamental analysis, Benjamin Graham. Power of compounding is incredible. So you make a bit and you make a bit on top of that and a bit on top of that, and you do that consistently. That's probably the safest way to get rich, instead of trying to find a Hail Mary like Elon Musk or Bill Gates. That's too hard. For every Musk, there's thousands of them that were probably just as intelligent, but they are still broke.
It's incredible.
Really, 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 really. If Elon Musk almost went broke, literally almost, let's say Warren Buffett got hit by a car, whoever loaned the money that day, let's say he got hit by a car, that person, or he was in a bad mood, Elon might not be here today, might not be the wealthiest person on this planet. So if he could have failed, it just shows that how even the smart, and I had to learn this the hard way, even the smartest of us could fail. And in terms of investing, if you're sitting there timing the market, as you said, the numbers are against you. They're stacked against you. I'm a big anti-trading guy, big anti-trading.
Yeah, man. And it's all about making sure that you stack your deck. And whenever you have a business, and you know this because you're in multiple endeavors, cash is king. Like having cash on hand, you can have your money work for you in different places, but if you don't have cash, you don't have oxygen. And if you don't have assets that can be quickly liquidated and turned into physical cash, if it's not cash, anything like a pandemic or something where you're really affected in your business, you could be put out of business. So you really have to, Warren Buffett calls building a moat, like build a moat around your business, insulate yourself
all the time. Yeah,
dude. Talk about it. Have you had experience in building one for any of your businesses or the concept?
You have to, otherwise you wouldn't exist. And moats could be very visible ones. It could be very subtle ones. First, about the point you said, just before the moat, you were saying how, what were we saying just before the moat? I want to comment on that.
I forget.
So look at my face, and I got pimples everywhere. I'm taking these supplements. Started taking these supplements in my face.
Steroids?
Yeah, no, Jesus, no, man. Some reishi and shit, all these biohacking stuff.
Oh hell yeah, we could talk about biohacking in a minute. I'm all about it.
Oh man, absolutely. I'm going to a clinic called Aviv Clinic in Dubai in about a week, and it's got a 3-month program, 5 days a week. It's like future. It looks completely futuristic. Very futuristic, and then it's got hyperbaric chambers, full DNA tests, and everything.
Beautiful. Let's talk about the moat real quick, like your experience.
You talked about having cash on hand.
Yes.
Warren talks about, and we're talking a lot about Warren because he's got a lot of great advice. When there's blood in the waters, that's when you should invest, and when there's greed, that's when you should be fearful.
Yeah.
But you can't invest when there's blood in the waters because you just don't have money. You got to be liquid. So yeah, I love being liquid. So when crypto does crash, I was doing a post about this earlier, or when COVID hits, or whatever it is that takes place and everything becomes really cheap, it's time to go shopping.
No
but
question.
When everyone is shopping, that's time to step away. Building a moat, yeah, there's just so many ways. It could be something very visible, like you have a product that no one can copy, or you have selling points that no one can copy, or you have a product that is patented. That's the most obvious moat. But there's moats that are behind the scenes, systems that make your business more efficient, that make it more profitable, that allow you to spend more on ad spend, that will then destroy your competitor, all because you are more efficient. And that could be through better logistics, it could be through better systems, people.
Yep.
The moat could be one of many things. My favorite one is just systems. I'm a very systems-oriented person. I think having good systems makes you more efficient, allows you to scale easier. And in my eyes, that's one hell of a moat.
Love it. Yeah, there's so many profound points. And he's there for a reason. 7 decades of experience. Like that's, some people don't have 7 decades of life, and he's got 7 decades of high level experience in this world. And so, yeah, you definitely can learn from people like that. But man, you brought up biohacking, and I got a wearable called Whoop. I don't know if you've heard of Whoop before, but the data you get from this in terms of rest and recovery and training and all the different things, it's incredible. But talk about what you do for biohacking, and we can geek out on that for a little bit.
Yeah, I had a levels here, but it's finished now, and I don't have any new capsules. Levels. It's like a continuous blue. Oh, well, you should check it out. It's a thing, you plug it in here. It's got a small needle. You put it in, it doesn't hurt, and it sticks there for 7 days. Mine ran out 4 days ago, and then you just scan it, and it shows you your sugar 24/7.
Wow.
Levels. So if you eat anything, you see the graph. If you eat anything, you're like, hey, is that good for me? You can scan it. Just scan that white thing, and it will tell you if your sugar levels spiked up or not. It's called Levels, blowing up in the US. So that's one thing that I do a lot of. Cold showers. I hate the cold, so
I took 2 of them today.
I can't, man. I just
it's so good for you though.
Very good. It's so good. I'm doing cryotherapy at least. There's like 3 minutes. I die, man. They got this. You've done obviously cryotherapy.
I haven't done it yet. I actually have for Father's Day, or I don't even know what it was. There was a gift I got not too long ago that has like this place up the street from me. I just haven't gone yet. So, well,
the place I tried out, that's, I felt like I was gonna die, to be honest. But there's one in Dubai when I was there, because I've got 2 companies there, and I'm a resident there for tax reasons. So when I was in Dubai, Smart. I went cryotherapy, and they've changed it. Now it's literally like a chamber. All your body goes. You step in, and you freeze. I can't, and I'm putting the weakest. I'm putting Novus, and my whole fucking hair is all frozen. Your nose, you can't feel it. It feels like your legs feeling like I'm like, I get out. I'm like, I have 100% have frostbite. I don't, because I'm doing the weakest ones. It's like impossible. But it's crazy, man. It just freezes your body. Sorry for cursing, by the way.
No, listen. You definitely curse here. So, what about some other protocols or things that you've used or currently using?
I fast every day.
Yep.
It used to be every day. Now, like a couple of times a week, intermittent.
So 16, 8, 24 OMAD?
18. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because apparently the sweet spot is between 16 and 18. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So I used to do 16, then I moved it to 18. My diet is vegan keto. So the best of both worlds. I have a lot of supplements, but I stopped them all to see which one's giving me acne breakout. I got medical students that look at everything. So I got the people that research every biohack on the planet.
What company are you getting where are you getting your supplements from?
I don't know, because I've been traveling for 8 years. So it depends which country I'm in.
Have you ever heard of
I know
Onnit?
that the quality is very important. So
yeah. Have you heard of Onnit? So Onnit is a company in Austin, Texas, another kind of like little mini Silicon Valley.
I'm going to check it out. So my camera might freeze while I check it out.
Yeah, Onnit. Onnit. And they're all about total human optimization is their deal. That's their ethos. Total human optimization, from spirit to mind to body to relationships. And they have a lot of double-blind studies on. They have nootropics that they do that are really good. They have like a full daily thing called Total Human, which is you have a morning pack and an evening pack of all different things. And they're really big into physical training. So like if you just type Onnit into Instagram, you're going to see all these like beautiful motherfuckers, like guys, girls that are just ripped, gorgeous. And they're all like on the path of health and wellness and biohacking. And they get some really great stuff. You should check them out. But I wanted to ask if you know the names like Paul Chek, or if you know Ben Greenfield. You've probably heard of this name before. No,
I don't research. No, I have a team that researches everything for me. The only one I know is the guy, the bullet
Dave Asprey.
Yeah.
I don't love him because he's always pitching something. Like he's always, and he doesn't look the part to me. Like if you look at Ben Greenfield, guy's a beast. Like, and he's like this lean, long, shredded.
Let me write down his name.
Yeah, he's got some great books. Beyond Training is one of them. And then there was one called Boundless. And he goes into, like, if you're a nerd into science, into data, into systems and processes, this is the guy for you. He is.
Which one? Ben Greenfield?
Ben Greenfield. He's the biohacker's biohacker. Like he's pretty much the foremost thought leader. Like when he goes into like medical spaces, he crushes all the medical experts with his knowledge. Like he is insane. He's insane. He's a little bit out there. Like he's obviously because he's like a friggin' superhuman, but he learned from a guy named Paul Chek. And Paul Chek is more tapped into the spiritual world. So Paul Chek works with like plant medicines, but he's a friggin' beast too, man. So if you're into biohacking, Paul Chek, Chek, and then Ben Greenfield, and then Onit, Onnit, are great places to be plugged into, man. But I've been doing intermittent fasting for almost 2 years. I do it every day. It's just a lifestyle now. My diet is usually mostly keto, whole foods. I train every day, cold shower every day. I'm into spirituality too. So anything from meditation to plant medicines, like the whole gamut, breath work, cold therapy. I started off with Wim Hof's January shower challenge, where you do 20 seconds of cold and then you build up. And now all my showers are just cold. So like I just barely turn it on when I get in. And so all these things have optimized me to show up better in life, business, relationships, and for myself. So for those that are listening, to your journey and to my journey, biohacking is the fucking game.
Yeah. Like I'm a growth hacker as well. Like I have a growth hacking agency. I always try to find an edge in everything I do and create a mode to have an advantage. My moat in life is those things. I want to live as long as possible and as healthy. I hate hospitals. I hate feeling bad. I hate being sick, and I never want to be sick. If it's
How old are you now?
I'm in my late 20s.
Yeah. So you're still young. I'm 39.
But I'm planning, I'm hoping like technology continues to catch up. People, more funds are focused on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's definitely a huge consciousness awakening, especially in health and wellness these days. Like it's sexy to be in shape. It's sexy to, be healthy. It's like, back in the day, people that used to smoke cigarettes were cool, but like, you don't really see people smoking cigarettes anymore, even though people are vaping and whatever. All that stuff has kind of come down because being healthy and being useful, being strong is so much more powerful in every facet of life.
Yeah, I agree.
So what are you working on today? So you're in Miami and you may be there for play, for business, but what's your focus now for today? Like this next few months?
Yeah. So we have one of our companies going public. So making sure that's a success. And then
what kind of company without naming it? Like what kind of industry?
No, it's called NFT tech. So it's NFTs. It essentially invests in metaverse, NFTs, and social tokens, all crypto related. And so that's number one. Number two is personal branding. So I was really big on Clubhouse. I had the biggest daily room, etc. Really, really big back.
How big was the room?
I would never have less than 2,000 people, usually 1,000 to 2,000.
Were you moderating?
It was my room. I do it every day.
Okay.
And I would be literally speaking the whole day. I don't just sit there so if you go roundtable.club, every single celebrity on Clubhouse has been through the roundtable. But I stopped it back in Feb when it started dropping off. But so yeah,
Clubhouse seems like it's dying a little bit.
It's died off completely. Yeah, it dropped by like a 90-something percent. 90%.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it collapsed. But yeah, so but audio rooms, Twitter's doing it, Facebook's doing it, Telegram's doing it, Discord is doing it, LinkedIn, many of them have done it already. Spotify just launched theirs. So I think live audio chat is an area I'm really interested in.
Sure.
So I want to build my personal brand in that area. So I want to keep that momentum going and focus on all these platforms.
Where do you think Clubhouse took a wrong turn?
Maybe they didn't take a wrong turn because Clubhouse is more of a feature rather than a standalone app, because you can add audio rooms on existing platforms rather than having to go to a completely new platform. So I think this Clubhouse got the opposite of a wrong turn. They just got a lot of things went right for them. That's why they blew up during COVID. But it's
I mean, now it seems like they're de-escalating. Like it seems like their height, they may get back to a good place, but it seems like their height, in terms of popularity and use is definitely been a few months ago.
Yeah. They've dropped again by 90%. Downloads have dropped, and many people are calling it as if Clubhouse is dead, and it could die off. By the looks of it, it's not looking positive at all. That's because first people just kind of got fatigued out of it. You sit there listening to the same shit in different rooms all the time. Like I would even back during the hype, I'd say I never use Clubhouse as a listener ever.
I was a laggard dude. Like I got invited last year, and then I got 3 invites in one day, I think January of this year. And I was like, you know what? That's a sign from the universe. If 3 different people from different parts of my life say join Clubhouse, I think I'll just do it. And so that's why I jumped on.
Yeah. Do you still use it now?
I was leading one of the leaders in a group called Coffee with Conscious CEOs every Friday, and it started dying down the last few weeks, and we haven't actually had a call on it. So I've been off for about 3 weeks now.
There you go. There you go. It's been happening like back in the day. The biggest rooms would be like 2,000, 3,000 people. This guy I know, he had hit 4,000 people. Some people hit 5,000. There was a lot of people back during the hype. I would have 10,000 people listening to me per day, 7 days a week. And I remember once running a room for 11 hours straight. It was just because I want to end it, and then Ty Lopez jumps in. Then I want to end it, and then Grant Cardone jumps in. Then I want to end it, and then Jay Shetty jumps in. Every time a big name jumps in, he's got to keep going.
You got to keep it rolling.
So that was a crazy 2 months, probably a month and a half, 2 months.
Did it bring you relationships or business, or did it do any of that?
Yeah, so I don't sell info products, which makes it hard, because selling info products would be perfect for Clubhouse. But I got some great, like I've got a call in 10, 15 minutes with Nick Bradley, who, he's a really successful guy.
I had him on the podcast.
Oh, you know Nick Bradley?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, we've got a call in a few minutes. I think either 6 minutes or 15 minutes. But yeah, so I met him on Clubhouse.
Hell yeah.
Pretty close right now.
Crazy. It's crazy what social media, like even for this podcast, like the people that I've had on, the people that I've connected with, the people that either I do life with now or I do business with now has been completely exacerbated by this medium, by podcasting. So whether it's Clubhouse, whether it's social media, whether it's e-com, whether it's whatever the hell it is, technology can be a beautiful tool to do life and business well.
The relationships, like yesterday I met, so I'm on BitClout as well, where people can invest in your coin. It's like a crypto thing. It's like Twitter, but people can buy your coin in you. So I met with a person and his sister who were some of my top investors on BitClout. And so we met for lunch in LA yesterday for dinner. And I like to meet people that are invested in me or close to me. I don't do it often, actually, but I wanted to do it that day. And he knew me back in the old Clubhouse days. And we were talking about how, like, I'm in this building now in Miami. When I was leaving it, I'm here because this is my business partner's place. I don't live here. I was visiting him yesterday, and I'm coming up. I was wearing the mask because you have to wear it inside. And a girl says to me, "Hold on, are you Mario?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I remember you from Clubhouse, where it's audio only." The people that I met yesterday, I know that they know me from Clubhouse. They're like chatting to me like they've known me forever because they've been listening to me for a long time. So the relationships, and I'm sure you can agree to this, the relationships you build on Clubhouse are probably the most valuable thing you get out of it, beyond followers or beyond any sales from any info products.
Relationships are everything on this earthly plane. I was talking about this. You're my third podcast of the day, and one of the podcasts earlier was talking about relationships, and that's one of my core tenets is relationships. So we've been talking about different currencies a lot today, with Bitcoin and stocks and all different things. The most important currency on this earth is absolutely relationships, no question, because the relationship gets you into the conversation, gets you into the room, gets you into the deal. If you don't have a relationship at some level, your life will not be nearly as beautiful as it could be.
I have a pretty important thing to mention about this, because I was in a very different place before. I built my business being a hermit. I was literally by myself, man, just building. I didn't connect with anyone. I didn't know anyone. No one knew me. I was so private. So I launched IBC, my first business outside of ecom, which was a crypto consulting firm. And then International Blockchain Legal, the founder, who's an attorney, it's a law firm, who owns this penthouse I'm staying in here. He's not here, he's in Colombia. But he wanted to partner with me because, like, hey, this guy's big in crypto. It took him 8 months vetting me before agreeing to partner with me. Without me knowing, he told me this afterwards. Because he said to me, "Mario, there's nothing about you online. There's literally nothing except a few places where it shows you own a few companies." Now it's different. I got scammed 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, and that triggered me starting personal branding. That's a different story. But the reason I'm telling you this is because when I changed that and I started putting myself out there and building that personal brand, the reason I'm the CEO of a company going public, the reason I've got all these different agencies is only because of the relationships. You don't have to have them to succeed in business and life, but it just makes it a lot easier. I've witnessed this myself. It's crazy the unfair advantage you get by knowing and building relationships with the right people.
Yeah, man.
And then knowing how to leverage those relationships at the right time, not in a bad way. You got to give them value first, but you got to see the opportunity, because there's also people that sit there connecting with everyone, but they never build a business. So I build a business that's more important than relationships, but relationships are the fuel to give you that moat that we were talking about earlier.
No question. It just makes life and business more interesting and more fun if you have great relationships. But I know you got to jump here in just a minute. So real quick before you do, what is going on for the rest of 2021 that you're excited about?
All right. So I always like to end things by giving value to the audience. I'd say I'm personally very interested in crypto. Expect it to dump. It should it's too crazy now. But long term, I'm interested in crypto. Short term, there's a lot of opportunities. There's like too many to mention. So for anyone listening, just watch that video by Bill Gross timing, Bill Gross TED. Search it on Google, and then start researching, start finding an opportunity, because the world is going through a shift. Shifts leads to opportunity, to disruption and opportunities. Businesses, a lot of people will lose money, will lose jobs, and businesses will go bankrupt. But at the same time, others need to fill that void. So find out what's growing and avoid avoid restaurants and go to crypto, or avoid retail stores and build an online stores. You see the shifts caused by COVID. So I would focus, I would double down on timing and look at opportunities that came about because of COVID.
Beautiful, brother. Great way to end it. The mighty and powerful Mario Nawfal. Thanks for being on the show, man.